Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to review yet another book by my favorite author Ruskin Bond. And this book is somewhat different, in fact quite a bit different from other Ruskin Bond works you might have read. And even if you're a regular reader of Ruskin Bond's works, I think this book will come across as different to you. Now let's just end the surprise. The book is Maharani by Ruskin Bond, and I'll show you the cover. Maharani by Ruskin Bond. You might have heard about the book, obviously. It's a novel, and as I said, it's a very unusual kind of a book in the sense that the protagonist of the novel, Maharani, is a very eccentric lady. Now, I don't really want to give the plot of the book. I just want to stick to giving a review, but just in a nutshell and very brief. So, Maharani, the word Maharani is the title, and the book is literally based around the life of a Maharani. She's the Maharani of Mastipur, the queen of Mastipur, which used to be a princely state of India in this novel. And it shows the life of the Maharani. The Maharani is now a very decadent lady who likes luxury, and she likes having a lot of lovers around. She's brimming with desire. Basically, the kind of characteristics of ultra rich class, the characteristics of princely states, Ruskin Bond is trying to portray through this novel. But just saying that would be taking a very myopic view of this work. The novel goes much beyond that. And as I said, the eccentric Maharani around whom the novel revolves, her character is really interesting. And what is even more fascinating is that Ruskin Bond himself is there in the novel by the name of Ruskin, and Ruskin and Maharani are very good friends. Now, this Maharani, her name is Nina, as her close friends know her as Nina. So, this is the entire it's not it doesn't follow a linear trajectory. The novel, it goes back and forth in time. So in the starting in the beginning of the novel, Ruskin and Maharani are having a conversation at her house in Missouri, the Hollow Oak house where she lives, the big bungalow. And at that time, Maharani is quite old, quite old age. She's quite elderly. But then we get to know the story of a young age, and the book then moves back and forth in time. It's not a linear progression as such, but Ruskin's friendship with Maharani although there's a sense of loss, a certain sense of loss, but still Ruskin's friendship with Maharani remains intact with the passage of time. And the novel ultimately ends with the unfortunate demise of Maharani. And how does she die and why does she die? That I won't reveal you. You have to read the book for that. But just to give you a bit of a plot. So now, the presence of Ruskin Bond himself and Maharani is told in the third person's voice, the narrator's voice, which is Ruskin's voice, who is a character in the novel as well. The presence of Ruskin might lead people to think that it has got some autobiographical element, but in fact, the author has himself made it clear in the introduction that Maharani doesn't have any autobiographical element as such from Mr. Ruskin Bond's life. Of course, it is inspired, the character of Maharani is inspired by the people who have known through the ages, whom he has known through ages, but then there is no the stories are not directly connected to those people. And that brings me to the most interesting aspect of this novel, Maharani, which is that the sheer amazing way in which Ruskin Bond amalgamates, mixes fantasy and reality. You can see that quality of his writing specifically in Maharani. And I'm also reading his book called How to Be a Writer these days. So it just came to my mind. He says one of these things about writing in that book, that good writing is something that even if you amalgamate fantasy, even if you want to introduce fantasy in your books, that has to be strongly rooted in reality. It cannot be just a fantasy out of the blue, just anything, but it has to have a certain cultural context, and the fantasy has to seem real. And that's what you can see in Maharani. Maharani herself is such a fantastical character. All the happenings of Maharani, it's a part thriller, part detective fiction, and the way the Maharani dies, and the involvement of ants in the whole novel, everything has such a fantastic element in it. The element of God is also there, And but still, despite all this, you cannot dismiss Maharani as something which is just a part of a fantasy world, and which is completely disconnected from reality. You cannot call it fanciful. Maharani is very much rooted in reality, and the that is what makes this novel unique. That despite all these fantastical things happening, you take them with utmost seriousness, because the writing is so much grounded in the immediate environment of Missouri, in the immediate environment of Ruskin Bond's life, and the environment in which all his works are grounded. So I think that's the beauty of Ruskin Bond's novels, and you see that beauty in Maharani, that the constant interplay of fantasy and reality, but it doesn't take you away from the reality, it rather strengthens the reality. Talking about the fantasy aspect and the gothic aspect. Gothic aspect is yet another important aspect of Maharani. There's so much of there's so many goth and supernatural elements. Is the character of the eccentric nun, a tall lady with a broad forehead, and she's kind of the caretaker of Maharani, in charge of all her affairs. And this lady's character, it's been so interestingly sketched out, and nobody knows her history, from where she came, and the kind of backstories that the narrator provides to this lady's character. It's both scary as well as hilarious. So there's a lot of dark humor in Maharani. And then Maharani's story herself, and the story of the ex Maharani, because she's the second Maharani. Her husband, the Maharaja, was married to some other lady who died under mysterious circumstances. So that backstory also literally sends shivers down your spine. So there's so much of goth and black humor. But the beauty of Ruskin Bond's writing is that even the most seemingly macabre of things and incidents are told in such a casual, matter of fact way, and they're laced with such a humor that you don't feel. Okay, you feel scared, but in a funny way. But you don't get scared in a very serious way. You don't. That humor doesn't really get you scared. So that's the beauty of Ruskin Bond's writing, and that brings me to another element: the persistence of pathos and melancholy in Maharani. I think Maharani is one of the most melancholic works of Ruskin Bond. The kind of tragic end, the kind of tragic fate that Maharani meets with towards the end of the novel, and Ruskin, the character in the book, attending her funeral. I mean, if you just look at it from a story point of view, it's so tragic. But the way the author sort of describes it, and the way the narratorial voice sort of comes to grips with the whole thing, presents the whole thing, you don't really feel, sad in that way. You, of course, feel sad, but you don't feel negative. And that's the beauty of Ruskin Bond's writing. No matter how many melancholic things are happening, here also the Maharani is passes away towards the end of the novel, but it doesn't make you feel negative or despondent. It doesn't make you, not believe in life. On the contrary, it's something which is presented as a life's natural occurrence, and in a very philosophical way, something that leaves her friend Ruskin with a sweet tinge. So I think this is something magical about Ruskin Bond's writing, and maybe I'm not able to put it very well, but I think you understand that it's basically the sense of melancholy and pathos that's omnipresent in his writings. It's not the kind of pathos that would make you feel negative or depressed, but it is something that would make you understand the reality of life in a very mature way, and then look back at those things and also be able to smile at those things which are gone by. And I think this is a very rare trait as an author. This brings me almost towards the end of the review, and this is something I absolutely love about Maharani. I absolutely adore this thing about Maharani is the fact that Maharani, if you look at a character, it's such a feminist character. And I would call her a feminist character because, of course, she's so much into alcohol, and she's so, she's so decadent, and she has so many lovers, and she doesn't think twice before doing anything or saying anything. Of course, she also carries the baggage of the rich society. But more than that, more than just a rich woman, she's a very unique character. And the beauty of the narratorial voice is that the way Maharani's character is etched out, even though she commits so many mistakes and she's also rude to so many people around her, including her friend Ruskin, but the narratorial voice never judges Maharani as a woman. And that's something you can see in Ruskin Bond's works throughout, that all his woman characters are in fact very well etched out characters, and these are not stereotypical women, and he makes his women characters, very unique, and he celebrates their individuality, and the narratorial voice doesn't judge its women's characters. So you can say that the author Ruskin Bond, when he's writing those works, doesn't judge his women characters, even though they are sort of placed in a very different kind of time, and it's a very different kind of Indian society at that time, and that's why you come across such fascinating and such scandalous characters like Maharani in his fiction. So of course the ants, now that is the major gothic element, and for some people this might be very uncomfortable. Also the way ants occupy the palace and the kind of metaphorical significance of ants in the novel, I think it's also got to do something with gradual deterioration of human life. So this is a kind of a philosophical concept also, I think, that Maharani has explored. Ants then become symbolic of the gradual, of course they become symbolic of the gradual deterioration of Maharani, but they also in a general level become symbolic of the gradual deterioration of anything that is corporeal, anything that is material. So read, I won't tell you anything more about the novel. It's a beautiful book, and it's not very long. I think you can finish it in one sitting or two sittings. And I mean, that's the amazing thing about Ruskin Bond's books. Once you start reading them, you cannot get up until you start finishing them. So maybe you can read the book in one sitting. So guys, thank you so much for listening. Please do subscribe to my channel, and I'm doing a constant series on Ruskin Bond's books. The next book I'll be reviewing is How to Be a Writer. So do subscribe to my channel to get regular notifications and updates on the upcoming videos. Thank you so much for listening.